Today, I am very honored to have the very talented and good-looking actor, Joey Albright, in the studio. Hi.
Hi. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Okay, Joey, I have a question.
Yes.
If I look you up online, you have your full name, which is Daniel Joey Albright, but you only go by Joey. Is this a preference? Is this like a stage name thing? Like, what is it?
Okay, so my full name, my real name, is Daniel Joseph Irvin Albright Bradford Brolin. Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. So imagine growing up with that and then the teacher having to read it out every time. So I was like, since I was like 5, I just went by Joey because I'm a happy-go-lucky kind of guy.
Okay.
And so Joey just made sense. Joseph short, Joey, and then Albright, which because I'm always bright, right?
Okay.
So it just stuck. But I use it as a stage name. I use it in my everyday life.
Okay.
Unless it's like an official document, I don't ever write out my full name. But imagine in Korea, you know how you have to write like Hangul? Daniel Joseph, but there's only like 4 spots. And you're like, how can I write all this?
Right, and then like when you write it out even in the spaces for like anything like phone and stuff like that,
so
like
bad.
it cuts you off.
Yeah, so I've gotten one of those dojangs, the stamps, just so I can just go boop and it's done. I don't have to write it out every time. It's my official mark. It's good.
So what's your full name again?
All right, Daniel Joseph Irvin Albright Bradford Brolin.
I love it. 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 Okay. So yeah, I figured that because in your Korean profile it says just Daniel Joey Albright, and so I was like, it may be because we have so many Daniels in like the
no.
business. That's maybe why you were going by Joey. But okay.
I've never thought about that, but if you call me Daniel, I probably wouldn't even acknowledge it. If someone was like Daniel on the street, I go by Joey, so I have to like. But in Korean, you know how they say like Joey, like, and so I'm like me. So I'll be on set, and so I'll go like Joey가, like what? Wait, what?
Me, what? What's that? You talking about me? Okay. For those of you who might or might know, for me personally, I loved your performance in Space Sweepers. Seung-neo, you were the reporter there, and you do. I don't want to say what happens to you. I don't want to give any spoilers if anybody didn't watch it.
If they haven't seen it. It came out in February. If you haven't seen it, it's your own fault.
Right. No, but yeah. So I honestly really loved your role. I didn't put 2 and 2 together with Vincenzo though.
Oh yeah, I lost. Well, I had longer hair. I was at a super slim kind of like shape at that time, and then Vincenzo Corona gained a little bit of weight, and my hair is longer. It was styled differently. I try to, I don't want to say this, like, I try to lose weight to match the character. I wanted to lose weight for that character, but normally you don't have enough time. You are what you are when you're cast. So, but with Seung-neo, Space Sweepers, it was one of the roles where I walked away and I needed like a 2-week break.
Wow.
I was traumatized. I was that character. If y'all haven't watched it, please go watch it. It's a really good movie. But anyways, a long story short, I felt it was some of my best acting at that time. It was.
I loved it. And honestly, I know that Space Sweepers, from many different perspectives, did get a lot of talk. I loved it for the fact that, staying in Korea for so long, seeing how much Korean cinematography has grown, for us to pull off a movie like that, I was just like, bravo.
Yeah.
I mean, if we compare it to Hollywood, yes, but I mean, still, we're such a small country, and to be producing stuff like that, I mean, like, yeah, let's give ourselves a pat on the back for it. I loved your role because without your role, we don't get the second half of the movie, in my personal opinion.
The thing is, I always get cast for these roles. This was the one kind of exception to the rule where it was more of a character arc. But I always get cast in the roles that require extreme acting.
Okay.
Over the top, like, and this, I really hate to say this, but over the top, impactful roles.
Right.
So
right.
in Ashfall, Pick the Sun.
Yes, I did. I like that too.
Give me, I think it was like, give me your, let me see the bomb, don't touch the bomb. And it was this thing where I enter, I say, okay, we got to run it, and then we leave. But it's always kind of the same thing. I'm in there for a short second or two, and then I bounce. And Vincenzo, same thing.
I think that's probably why I didn't put 2 and 2 together.
Yeah.
Because if I heard you talk a lot more in your part, I think I probably would have put 2 and 2 together. But then looking back at the reel, I was just like, oh yeah. And the whole scene, I love your scene, by the way, with them. The priests are hilarious. Yeah, the monks are hilarious.
Congratulations
to your wedding.
So good.
Cute. I give you props for not laughing every take they did.
So I'm gonna be honest, I didn't know they were gonna do that.
Oh, really?
So like I was just like, okay, I'm gonna propose to her. I'm gonna try to, and my whole rule of thumb is, if the director gives you freedom, like ad lib, right, or like the improv in the scene, don't do any more than what's needed in the scene.
Okay.
So Will You Marry Me was clean. It was what it was. I stood up. She said yes. I gave her a hug. I didn't know there was gonna be this whole shebang afterward, and I'm like, whoa, not. Okay.
I didn't expect that.
Yeah, it was there was no rehearsal for that, you know.
Wow.
I thought they were just like singing a monk song or something, and I was like, you know, from like the
Right.
the Buddhist song or whatever.
Right.
But I was like, wow, dude, that's not okay. Cool, I guess. All right.
Okay, it's like you listen. The more you listen, it's like, wait, that's not Korean.
Yeah, it was very, very strange, but it was good. I enjoyed it. you know?
Now, Joey, honestly, whenever I do actually get like any type of foreigner, and for me as well, we tend to get just image cast quite often, and I feel that a lot of the foreign actors that are working in Korea, maybe they just never really planned on being an actor in the first place. I mean, it just kind of falls within that, but I feel that you are a little different, because I feel that just by looking at your social media and your just love for the art of acting in general, you do take it from a different perspective. So did you start being an actor before you came to Korea, or did this kind of come after an opportunity?
So it's a little bit of everything.
Okay.
A lot of people don't know this. My mom, when I was a kid, did the Annie play in community theater. It was like a year and a half, 2 years, something like that. When I was like, I think it was like 10 or 12 or 7, somewhere. It was a long time ago. I'm 30 something now. How do you remember dates? But I got to watch the dog backstage, Sandy. So she played Miss Hannigan, and I would take care of the dog, and I would watch these people create, and they were just in it for the love of it.
Right.
It wasn't, like anything else but the love of acting. It was community theater. you know?
Right.
So I was like, wow, this is amazing. This is something I want to do, but I have stage fright.
Okay.
Which you wouldn't know by looking at me, but if I do like a presentation or anything, I just get all sweaty and clammy, like, oh, I can't do this. And I get nervous. So imagine having to memorize a full script, not mess up, and having stage fright. That's not possible for me. So I don't do stage. I don't do theater at all.
Okay.
But that transitioned into me wanting to be a TV chef.
Okay.
Because I didn't have the confidence to be an actor. I thought you had to be slim. You have to have all these things. But then slowly, I became a chef. I was going to try to become a TV chef for a big network in the States that begins with food.
You were going to be on Food Network?
That was my dream. The end all be all, like go on and go, yeah.
And then I would have probably had you in the studio as like a Food
chef.
Network chef.
Yeah. And so like it would have been awesome to have achieved that. But I ended up moving out to Korea and I cooked here for about 3 years, entered university. And then Lee Kwang-soo from Running Man came to my university, pulled me off the street, and we did dakjijigi, pogs. And he introduced me in front of the camera. And I realized I kind of want to pursue this full time, but I don't want to be famous. It's a very weird, mentality. But like, I went into school, and like the next day after I finished the show, it aired, and like a week later, and then everyone was like, "Oh, can I have your number? Oh, let's be friends. Oh, you're Joey Albright." And it was like a weird thing. So like, as soon as summer break hit, I ran to I think it was Thailand, and I just went to Thailand, Vietnam, and Cambodia with my buddy, just to kind of escape
that whole thing.
Because I didn't want to be random people coming up to me invading my privacy. I didn't want, like, they're not, I don't know if they're fans. I don't know what you would call people like that, but people would like to come up. There was one person, even when I went on my honeymoon in Italy, that came up and took a photo of me and my wife eating. And I'm like, what are you doing?
Right.
So like, I have a very low tolerance for rudeness and stuff like that.
Right.
So I escaped the fame aspect, thank God. But then I decided I want to be in front of the camera. I want to do what my mom did, and I want to act. So and my mom did it as a passion project. It wasn't. She was never going to be, like Hollywood A-list.
Right.
I didn't expect either. But it was a dream since I was a kid. And then as I started doing it, I realized I'm working with. And I don't think a lot of people have this mentality that work in the industry, unfortunately. And it's not to badmouth anybody.
Right.
Everyone's got their own reason. You can get in it to be famous. You can get in to be
definitely.
rich.
Yeah.
You have your own priorities. Cool.
Right.
My whole thing was, I don't want to be working with A-list celebrities and be a bad actor.
Right.
I don't deserve to work with A-list celebrities in Korea. Kim Hae-soo, Byung-won, Kim Tae-ri, these huge stars that trained their whole lives, and I get cast because I'm a white dude with like foreign privilege, right? So I'm like, I don't want that foreign privilege. I'm a big dude. I want to earn it. And
Right.
so for the past 5 years, every day, I usually don't take a day off unless it's to spend time with my daughter or to do a family trip. Otherwise, every day, even if it's 2 hours, 5 hours, I will go and I will sit down. I'll read an acting book. I'll pay for online acting classes in LA that are really expensive. And whenever COVID hit, I was doing it every day, 5 days a week. And I was not taking a break. And it was 5-hour classes. And I was in it every day studying, rehearsing. And I would force myself to do 5 hours a day. But whenever I started 5 years ago, I wasn't very good, but I knew I needed to get better.
Okay.
And so now I'm at a level where I think I'm good, but I'm not good enough. You're never good enough. As an actor, you got to be.
Well, no, yeah, but I feel also that it's not just about, thinking fully that I'm never good enough for it. But then again, also, like you were saying, for Space Sweepers, I feel that I did what I could at that time. I feel that anybody's role, and even in Hollywood, all of our A-lister, actors, yes, they do well. And of course, when they come to the set, they are making a role that they're paid for. They're getting that page that much for it. But, they all started like everybody else. They were the ones that were rejected for like every audition that they went into, that they would do like 5 times a day. It's just that one role, that one nice opportunity where they were vulnerable enough, or it just hit them right. Either they had the skill or the natural pain, or I think research to do the role.
Yeah, but also this is what's funny about this is like the image casting that exists in Korea for foreigners. You just have to be this skinny and this tall, this good looking for a foreigner. I'm tall, I'm not skinny, and I'm not good looking. So for me, it was like a constant hurdle to try to beat out model pretty people who I've seen. I would go into an audition and one guy like would flub his lines and the other guy would flub his lines right in front of me. And I'm like, oh God. But they still got the roles. And at the end of the day, it's about the image.
Right.
I got to the point where I was like, I want to be undeniably good. I want to be so good that people have to go, if we can't use them here, we'll use them next time.
Right.
That's the level I'm getting to.
Okay.
But I still have 20 years, 30 years, 40 years to achieve who I want to be like, which is Anthony Hopkins. I want to be as good as Anthony Hopkins, if not better.
Okay.
I want to be a Marlon Brando. I want to be I don't want to act like them. I want to be that good. And so that's how I approach acting is you can cast me in image casting, whatever. At the end of the day, though, where I get the most enjoyment, honestly, is in my classes.
Okay.
Because that's where I'm doing 5 hours of script breakdown, 5 hours of script analysis, character development, all this stuff. I have to memorize it, present it in front of a Hollywood people that are like almost top tier. They're not like A-list, but they're like
in the business they are.
Yeah. And so like people know them, and these are the classes that I pay for. And it's like I go and I do this, and then they go, it wasn't that good. I go, okay, what can I do to get better?
Right.
And that's how I approach it.
Right.
So like I think like with casting here, it is what it is. LA, anywhere you go, is always going to be an image that fits a role.
Oh, definitely.
And it's not to bash people here, but again, people's priorities in the industry anywhere, whether it be here in LA, in Japan, anywhere in the world. Some people are in it for the fame. Some people are in it for the money. So they all have their own priorities. So it's not bad-mouthing anybody. But for me, it is about the craft, the passion, the art. So.
Definitely. Well, Jenga saying a huge respect for all the dedication that you're putting. Hannah saying it sounds like a leap of faith and, of course, dedication as well. And in the end, Adrian is saying that, attitude is all that matters the most, which I think you're definitely showing us for that. But I mean, a transition, and I know that you're constantly working towards your craft, and I feel that, starting off as a chef, and, that in itself is a craft too, and acting is also a craft as well. Do you find that some of the maybe discipline or dedication that you use to become a chef kind of are helping in acting in any way?
Yes. You can ask any foreigner on set that has worked with me. I'm a pain in the butt to work with because I have an expectation, and this is 100% true. you don't jump in front of the camera unless it serves the story. So as a chef, it's the same thing. You don't throw on a steak unless the customer orders it. You don't put extra sauce on something. You know what I mean?
Using that as an example, it makes a lot more sense.
There
Because
are
I feel
people-
that, if you just analyze acting, it's so much easier to put more
But
into the
less
situation.
is more. When you cry, think about it. Whenever you're going to cry for a scene and you're getting into the scene and you're just building up and you're just trying to go and go.
And it's not going.
And then you push. Most people try not to cry in the
Right,
scene.
right, right,
They're
right.
trying to hold back the tears. You know?
Right, right, right.
But like you can get to that point where you're about to break, but then you have to dial it back, right? But with dialogue, if you ad-lib anything in a scene, for example, and you say like one thing and it turns out in the story that's a spoiler, well, guess what? You have to go back and re-edit it out. Also, a lot of the writers and directors aren't fluent in English. They're not
Alright.
native English speakers. So they go, okay, it sounds good. And then it turns out it's a spoiler. I said, the director allowed me to translate my own stuff one time. I translated my own script. I said what I needed to say, but it wasn't them. It was thank you. I wanted to thank them. I want to thank you. It was you, not them. There was no them in the script, but I had said that, so I had to go back in and redub it.
Wow.
But there was somebody on set that actually went and delivered some lines that was a spoiler, and the director said cut, and I said we can't use that, and he goes why, and I said I'm not throwing anyone under the bus here, but the reason why is because in this scene this can't be released yet.
Yeah, right. Because they're saying something they're not supposed to.
Yeah, and so that's a spoiler. So less is more.
Okay.
Less is more, saying the bare minimum, understanding what your character is, and fulfilling the story is the most important role of an actor. You don't see the main actor jump in front of the camera and go, I'm here. No, it's not about that. It's about looking as real in the situation as possible. And so you'll see a lot of overacting. I'm guilty of it in my older stuff as well. I was horrible, but I didn't understand that it's about the story. The writer has a full script that I don't understand, and I get one page of dialogue and I think, oh, the lines aren't enough. So I'm going
Right.
to say 30 things. But there's no reason to say 30 things if I'm only here to serve the purpose of, here's your sandwich, sir, enjoy your meal. You know, like
Right, right, exactly. You're supposed to be giving them their coffee and like, so by the way, and
Yeah.
you just to get that one more second or minute of
it's not needed.
Time.
They're going to clip it out anyway.
Exactly. All right. So we're going to talk a lot more about Joey's career in Korea. Also, if you have any questions and messages for him, please just send those our way. If you're on our YouTube live stream, you can send them in through there. If you're on our V Live, you can send them in through there as well. If our send message board is more convenient for you, you can send them there too. Speaking of Vincenzo, we're going to take a listen to one of the main themes from it. John Park is on it with I'm Always By Your Side, and more of our insiders coming up after this. All right, we have our insider in the studio today. We've got the awesomely talented and very good looking. I don't know why he keeps saying that he's not good looking, but he is. Joey Albright's in the studio. We've got Kyun Kim Nim dropping by to say hello after seeing your post on Instagram. Garrison is dropping by to say, Joy, 안녕하세요. We're so happy to see you here. We support you, and thank you so much for working in the industry in Korea.
Oh, I love Garrison. Garrison's a good buddy of mine in the industry.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He's done a lot. I think he was like in Run On and a bunch of stuff as well. But there's like two people that I love working with, and him and Carson are like my two top favorite people. So
Oh yeah, we had Carson in the studio. I saw her give you a shout out yesterday too, but
yeah.
she's so cute and she's like learning martial arts and stuff like this these days.
Yeah, she's doing stunt training.
Yeah.
We both entered the Seoul Action School in Paju, and we did 3 months of it. Her schedule got busy for work.
Right.
It was too difficult for me.
Really?
But she entered a different one in Seoul, a different stunt school in Seoul, and she's amazing. She's very dedicated. For me, exercise and stunts aren't really my thing.
Okay.
If I'm cast in a role that requires them, then I will prep for it. 'Cause
Okay.
I already have the basics. I did 3 months
Okay.
of Monday to Friday.
Wow, that's
This was
intense.
in 2018, and I'm like, I don't want to do stunts unless I absolutely have to, because the
Right.
risk to reward ratio is very low. I can injure my knee and never work again.
No, no. No, I think it's true because like a lot of Korean actors, I know that few of them, they like to work out, but they also like the martial arts aspect of the workout. So they just like it because it's a hobby. But yeah, it's not for everybody, definitely.
Very different.
Okay, so Joey, you've been in the business for a while. I know that you've been really kind of building your career as an actor. So do you remember your first like either drama or film debut?
Yes, I was in some weird thing where I was a professional golfer. It was,
Oh, you look such the role. I'm sorry, that image cast was like so point on.
but I was in these like Ajishi style golf clothes, and I'm like, they're like, I had to like enter, and I was like, these clothes are so amazing, ooh la la, and it was like PPL, sponsored, and I was like, I don't know how to make this natural because these clothes are not for me because I'm a big dude. Like I'm a big dude for Korea. My shirt size is like 105, 110, like large America, medium
Which is
large.
very normal in the US, but in Korea, like everything comes out so small.
But imagine golf clothes.
Oh, they don't fit.
And they're tight fitting. So I'm wearing the largest ones they got. And it's just like mismatch of color. And I'm like, wow. And my line delivery was awkward because I felt uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And I didn't know camera angles. I didn't know all the stuff I know now. And
Right.
that's what it is. It's like acting is just a development of a sense of a set of skills and a sixth sense in order to enter the frame, be able to like touch stuff, move around in frame, talk to somebody like you're having a real conversation, make sure your stakes are nice and high, and make sure that what you're saying fits the scene and the nuance of the scene. So it's like doing 1,000 things at once. Like cooking
Right.
transitions so well into that.
Right. And after you were saying that, Hannah's like, OMG, that's so much. Okay. So as I feel that, and I know that some amazing directors who have also been like on the other side of the audition table, who have auditioned for roles and have been turned down. I feel that for me as well, auditions are always the worst. I feel that certain people, like even though they get turned down, they just love the audition process. I think it's like a very small percentile. But I know that, yes, there's going to be image cast. Yes, I know that the people on the other side of the table do have a set image or like an ideal of who they want to cast, regardless of how good that person brings it to the table.
I didn't say it.
But if you put it that way, have you found over the years, like even in Korea, even though it is very heavily, image cast, can you get over the nerves, or have you found like ways to kind of get a better response from an audition for any of our listeners who might be thinking like, maybe I can, pick this up if I really have a passion for it?
So passion can only get you so far. There is so funny that the classes I take, the very first one I did was improv based commercial audition, self tape. I am, like I said, I'm nervous when I get in front of people. So auditioning is the worst thing for me. But an actor, really famous actor, I can't remember who it was, said that auditioning, just to have an audition is a chance to perform in front of an audience. So just to have an audition is a chance to perform in front of an audience. I was like, wow, that's amazing. So it's an opportunity. It's not about booking the role.
Right.
It's about performing in front of an audience.
Wow.
So if you really want to be an actor and you want to perform, just have that mentality. I still get nervous in auditions. And in LA, this is what they always say in my class. It is you can be the best actor in the world and be a horrible auditioner because it's a different language.
It is different.
You're in this small little frame window. It's like what we have here, and you got to do all these movements within a small frame, which is like film acting.
Right.
But you have to portray 1,000 things and still come off as natural and not be nervous. But then in-person auditions, even worse.
Right.
Because it's like doing theater.
Right.
So every time I get into an in-person audition, I get sweaty, I get clammy. And all I have to do is realize, though, I'm just here to show what I can do. And if they like me, they like me. There's 1,000 reasons why they won't choose me.
Right.
90% of the time, I'm either taller than the main actor or I am too fat. You know what I mean? And that's 100% true. And that's the mentality. That's the reality of the industry.
But I feel that I feel a lot of people might be like, oh, maybe it's just because Korea. I feel that you would get the same talk and feedback if you were in LA, New York.
Yeah. Oh, no.
Anywhere.
It's not hating on Korea. Believe me, I love working in the Korean industry.
No.
I'm saying in general, anywhere you go in the world,
In the
unless
business.
they require a
Right.
chubby dad or unless they require a certain image, they want to put the leads, especially like if it's not a comedic scene, if it's a dramatic scene, if it's a romantic scene, they want a skinny, tall person.
Right.
It's unfortunate, but it's what sex sells.
Right.
That's all it is.
No, it's true.
At the end of the day, they want the audience, they want the fans to fall in love with the lead.
Right.
So they can sell tickets, which
Right.
makes sense. It's a business aspect.
Right.
So me going into an audition and not booking, I just did an audition for a Taekwondo thing. I didn't book it. The director goes, "Do you work out?" And I said, "I hurt my knee during doing stunts for a commercial. I haven't worked out in a while. Also, COVID body, you know." And he's like, "Oh, okay." So that means I probably don't fit the what is it? Taekwondo Sun Tzu.
Right.
Taekwondo like main
Athlete
I don't have
role.
that body. So okay, it's just I should have been already skinny and had the body for the role, but I was still brought in to show my acting ability, which was
Right.
nice. So I had the chance to audition. I failed either because I was super nervous or because I wasn't the right image, didn't have the right body shape. It is what it is. So with the auditions, all you can do is go in, do your best, be off book, have the lines as close to natural as possible for the scene, show your ability, and then if you don't get chosen, just prep for the next one. And
Okay.
you gotta let it go. It still eats at me. It'll eat at me when I hear I don't pass an audition. It'll eat at me for about a week. So what I'll do is I'll just go, I just got to get better. And so I'll just start studying immediately just to grow rather than let it be a negative thing where I just eat myself. And
make it like an insecurity.
Yeah, and it is what it is. Like, I don't get offered auditions a lot of times, which it blows my mind. I don't think I deserve auditions. I think I put in enough work to where not just me, but everyone, no matter your level, everyone deserves the audition at least.
Right. At least the audition.
Regardless of whatever issues an agency might have or doesn't have or an image. I think if they wanted a 50-year-old dude, I should still be able to go on an audition in Korea. For
Right.
LA, very different.
Right.
You know, so in Korea, I think any audition should be open, and if the person bombs, at least they had the chance.
Right.
You know, fair is fair, and that's
Well,
what it
yeah,
should
and
be.
I mean, like you said, you're performing in front of an audience, and I mean, they might not need you for the role then, but they could need you for a role next movie or next drama down the line.
That's true.
And I feel that even in LA or New York, they say that the business is so big, and yet it is so small.
Yeah. Well, and that's the other thing. They want people. They recycle a lot of, and the word is recycle. Unfortunately, a lot of the leads because they know a lot of the leads will bring in revenue, and that's the reality. Unless you're like 17, a good example of this is the Spider-Man. Tom Holland, I think his name is the new Spider-Man. Right? He was young, now an A-list celebrity. That is the offset to the rule. There's barely anybody that gets the A-list celebrity status that is my age or older in America, unless they have some special thing where they came in with like 1 million followers and they're going to bring an audience to a film
Right.
or a drama or a
Or
TV show.
they came into a film and it was so good. Like they weren't the main actor. They stole the lead
Yeah.
pretty much. And then their next movie, it makes them like an A-lister.
Exactly. So
Definitely. Yeah. Hannah was saying that, yeah, failing auditions is hard for me too, but that's good to see it like in just, if you think about it, instead of not going either. Yeah. And it is, I think, different for everybody. So we have Kyun-nim asking, do you enjoy any sports if you do any?
So I used to do, a lot of people don't know this, I used to do MMA. I trained on MMA. I used to do boxing. I used to play basketball to a certain extent. When I was in university, I did like a semester class or whatever. I used to do flying yoga and yoga. I used to do CrossFit. So I'm pretty active. And what you see is muscle and fat, people. So it's like I've got the muscle.
Yeah,
but then,
honestly, though, like I feel that the whole, honestly, you're not.
It's a very different mentality when you're in Korea because unless you're like mannequin thin, 9 times out of 10 you won't get a
Unfortunately.
love interest role, which is fine.
Yeah,
So-
no, and it's true because I feel that even though in the camera does add more than 5 pounds, which sucks.
It's okay.
Because I feel that it's also different for every camera. Like our camera in the studio is a really nice high camera, but it doesn't give you that vibe. But of course, even the skinniest of idols, if they're on like any of the cameras for TV that we use in Korea, I don't know what it is about the angles, but it does make somebody look wider.
Yeah, it's also how you present yourself. Like I slouch, so I automatically look bigger. But if I roll my shoulders back and puff out my chest, it looks like I have, like I'm built.
Right,
So
right.
it is a difference in body posture, camera angles, etc. I keep turning my body to see how I look the slimmest. By the way, I'm analyzing that as we're doing
Go
this.
for it. You could normally you're not supposed to look at the camera when you're an actor, but today you can look at the actor all you want. Yeah, you look at all the camera.
I always ask the director, should I look in the lens?
Look at the lens. Go
Okay.
for it.
But
It's fine.
There was a situation with like a director going, there's a shower scene.
Scene.
Are you comfortable being shirtless? And I said, I'm fine. I don't know how the audience feels.
No, but ironically enough, I think I've said the same thing. People are asking me stuff like, "Are you comfortable doing?" it?" I'm like, "I'm fine. I don't think y'all are going to be comfortable with it, but I mean, sure."
But the audience, if you think the audience wants to see me shirtless, sure. I don't have a problem with my body, but do you.
Whatever you want me to do.
But I don't usually get those roles. To be honest with you, I've never gotten one of those shirtless scenes before.
But I feel that,
That's not true though. I did do a shirtless massage scene in The Spies Who Love Me.
oh yeah, no, you did.
But you saw the camera angles, right?
Yeah.
I didn't look half bad. Not
No,
too
you
bad.
do,
It
no,
was
you
like-
looked actually really
I
good.
was like, not bad.
I actually loved your acting in the elevator too for that one.
Oh, that was fun.
Yeah,
that was
that
all
was a
improv.
lot of fun. Did really love it. Okay. Yeah, I really did love that little lint piece. Okay, so fam, today I think, it is an interview, but this literally just feels like I'm having coffee with Joey Albright in the studio. He's an amazing actor, and we are learning a little bit more about his career. He's giving us some great tips, especially if you are even wanting to get into the business of acting or in TV or in singing or anything. He's kind of covering a lot of the basics. So if you have any more questions and messages for him, keep sending them our way. We do have access to our YouTube live stream, the V Live, and our homepage as well, whatever's more convenient for you. In the meantime, though, we've got more music for you to enjoy. We've got Youngjun and Say on the Track with Darling and more of our insiders coming up after this. We have the very talented and very good-looking, regardless of what he's going to preach today, actor Joey Albright in the studio. He's been telling us a lot of just secrets in the business. I really love the fact that you've been giving us an edge on how to audition, because I feel that everybody auditions are like the biggest
Yes.
Mount Everest that we could ever overcome.
Well, someone told me with auditions, it's like a job interview. Mm-hmm. You're not going to go in super nervous and clammed up. I heard that, for example, LA casting directors, within the first 10 seconds, they already know if they want to work with you.
Oh,
Because it's your personality. As soon as you enter the door, if you come in, and this is what it took me years to break out of this, because in Korea, you have to be very polite.
Right.
Oh, 안녕하세요. 저 뭐뭐입니다. You know, like you have to be very respectful. You go in with a nice, energetic, full personality into an audition room in the States. They immediately are like, this guy is going to be fun to work with on set. He's going to be professional. He can act. And it is, like it's the energy you give out, that vibe. And so they always talk about in my class, essence. What's your essence? And they go, you got to be more than just acting. You can't just be acting. And I'm like, but that's all I want to be.
Right.
And so they think that's going to hinder me by only talking about acting, only being an actor, and not really opening up about my career, or like my past careers, my hardships and stuff. They're like, that's going to hinder you. You need to be personable.
Okay.
And so in a job interview in the States as well, they want to know if you're going to be good to work with or not. So it's not just your acting level, it's also your personality that's taken into account.
Okay.
So you got 1,000 things going against you if you go in already nervous, because the first thing you need to do, without, pre-corona, you would shake a hand, but casting directors hate that. They don't shake. They always say in the podcast I listen to and stuff, don't shake your hands. It's how many people's hands you got to shake? There's so much germs. Just understanding right off the bat the very basics of being personable when you walk into a room, giving off a good vibe that you're going to be fun to work with, that you're going to be honest, that you're going to be hardworking, dedicated, passionate, but not so passionate that you're going to drive them crazy. All that is a balancing act, even before you even show your acting.
Wow.
In Korea, it's very different. Very different.
Is.
I try to be personable in Korean, and I look nervous. I talk like this in Korean, and people go, "You look so nervous," and I'm like, I'm trying to do what I'm learning in my LA classes. I'm being personable. And they're like, no, you're talking too fast. And I'm like, but that's me.
Right, that's how I talk.
That's how I talk.
Okay, so we're talking a lot about, you are taking classes in LA. And honestly, with Space Sweepers even, we saw how it captivated the world thanks to Netflix and all this. So Netflix has really been a great platform. I know that a lot of other platforms right now, like OTT platforms, are really helping the spread of Korean dramas, Hallyu, whatever you want to call it. And there are more and more opportunities. So not Worth It recently was getting a lot of love with its foreign cast as well. So, I mean, we're getting more opportunities to see, more collaborations. So, I feel that you're such a passionate person that the ideal of maybe going back to the US or maybe even like pursuing acting back in LA would be something you would be looking forward to?
Yes, actually, I am very excited. I love working in Korea, don't get me wrong. And I have met amazing, it's weird to say this, but the directors that I've worked with, the assistant directors, the producers, the production, the staff, everyone that puts together these dramas and movies have been nothing but nice to me. But I know I've hit a plateau or like the glass ceiling, right? For roles up until now that are available for my age, my height, my everything.
Image,
right?
whatever.
Yeah. And I don't want to like survive off of foreign privilege and whatever. I don't believe in any of that. So for me, I believe hard work, dedication will get me where I need to go. And so I do plan actually, knock on wood, this September, I will be in LA.
Wow.
And I already have an agency there. I'm looking for a manager currently. But I do want to start there. So I'm going to go there for a month or two, kind of dip my toes, come back here for work whenever work is offered. And I'm going to be international. So I'll probably just have a set, like little, like, what is it?
Studio apartment type of ordeal.
Yeah, or homestay even that I can just bounce in and out of whenever the work opportunities happen.
Right.
Obviously, with Corona, I got signed last year actually with my agency. I haven't been able to go because of Corona. I got signed in July of last year and Corona hit and it was like 2020 and I'm like, can't go. And they're like, well, come in 2021. So I'm going to go in 2021. However, with the new variant out and stuff, I'm still going to I need to get vaccinated. I still got to wear a mask, still got to do all that stuff. But I'm going to at least try for 2 months to see if Corona is going to hinder me or not.
Okay.
And then if it doesn't, and I book a small couple gigs in a commercial, a couple of one-liners here and there, I would just be going back and forth at that point because I still want to work in the Korean market. This is where I started. This is where I love, but I kind of want to prove to myself that I'm good enough.
Okay.
Because there's, you always get those people that if you think you're so good, go to LA and try to make it there. Well, I am.
Yeah, okay.
I am.
I am. That's what I plan on doing.
So for all the haters out there, thanks. I've already got that in my list of things to do this September.
Okay. Now, speaking of people asking you, like, all this of what you would like to do in the future, Kyunni was asking, do you have any plans to maybe teach acting at colleges here in Korea?
So I did do a quick actor lesson for the Seoul Bangsong High School.
Okay.
Which is it's like in downtown Seoul, and it was just I wanted to help out some kids. An actual like teacher hit me up and was like, "Hey, would you be interested in doing an interview?" And said, "Yeah, sure, why not?" I don't. The thing about acting is I don't want to teach acting to people who aren't already trying to study.
Okay. I get what you mean.
Like, I've had people go, bro, can you teach me how to win an audition? Can you teach me this? I'm like, well, if you haven't studied acting, then me teaching you how to win an audition isn't going to help your acting.
Right.
So unless you have that same passion, whereas I know if I go to LA, I will always be learning something.
Right.
But I don't desire to be a teacher at all. But there will come a time when I go, I would like to teach American acting in Korea to like high school students and Korean students starting out, not foreigners. Foreigners, there's a whole ego system that exists that I don't want to deal with. And they're like, I'm good enough because, like I'm natural. And you can be natural, that's fine, but you ain't going to grow. Let's be honest, it's all fixed in post. So that out of the way, I wouldn't mind helping like Korean students, acting students on how to break down a script, how to look at a script.
Like the skill patterns that you've been picking up.
But it's not actually teaching acting though.
Right. Because
Because
teaching a skill in acting, I think, is a little bit different. Because the actor is doing the acting. The skill is something very different.
Exactly.
Okay. Well, Joey, you have talked us to the end of my show today, like overtime status. We still have so much to talk about, so I think this means that we have you reserved for a comeback session. Hopefully, we can see you after you do dabble your toes in LA a little bit and come back and give us an update.
I would love to do that.
All right. Thank you, Joey, for joining us in the studio today, and we will see you next time.
Thank you. Bye, guys.